To bring you the latest developments after a student was shot inside a school hallway at Erie High School. This incident Tuesday morning locking down the high school, and school leaders say they will have that building closed until Tuesday after Easter break, so that is April 19th.
But we're learning it could be even longer than that. Our Lisa Adams has been working on this story all day, and Lisa, union teachers at Erie High say they won't come back in person. Those in person.
Good evening, Mike and Eva. That is right. They say they met with school officials back in January 13th to discuss what they considered unsafe working conditions at the school. At that time, giving the district a list of issues and items to be addressed immediately. But within 3 months, Tuesday's crisis happened, leaving one student in the hospital with gunshot wounds, another teen, apparently a relative, armed with a semi-automatic handgun, still in the community at large. Now, in the EEA's view, yesterday's scene is the proof. There has been minimal action on their significant calls about unsafe working conditions being addressed. They say the horrific choice of one student to smuggle a firearm into the building and violently shoot a fellow student has deeply and traumatically impacted students and staff. So in this letter to Superintendent Brian Polito from PSEA on behalf of teachers at Erie High, not district-wide, they say they will work remotely, teaching from home as they did during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that, as Eva said, to start on Tuesday, April 19th, after Easter. That is, unless the following safeguards are put into place, and here's what they are calling for. Installation of metal detectors at the school, or at least until then, every single student being wanted and scanned when they come in, security cameras, locks on all interior and exterior doors in the building, increased security and police presence, especially in high visibility areas, communication devices for every staff person in the building, and clear procedures for discipline and enforcing those procedures evenly for all students. Also, they want teacher access to student behavior data.
So over the last year especially, there have been multiple conversations with the district, and notably January 13, in which I was in the room to also have that conversation, and delivered a list at that time to the district, very similar to the list that's in this letter, to say you can't ignore this, because as it gets worse, and it is, we have to start to take this much more seriously and stop planning and look more at action.
Funkhauser told me that Erie High teachers saw a big change in student behavior after the pandemic. Superintendent Brian Polito and board members have a specially called executive session that's scheduled to be behind closed doors at 5:30 this evening to talk about security and the shooting that happened yesterday. Coming up at 5:30, why is the district's new police chief not a police officer as required in the job description? Much more on that at 5:30. Lisa Adams, Erie News Now.
All right, Lisa, thanks for all the updates. As fallout continues.